up in clean again. Yeah, you ended up in the clean again. Okay. Okay. All done.
Okay.
Let's get this on you. Bronx, come here. Bronx, come here. And don't restrict his movement, just let him go where he's gonna go.
Just let him go. Unless he starts punching me in the face, then you can pull him off.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, put him back. Oh, here we go. That's good. That's good. Oh, yeah.
Secure this.
All right. Yeah,
Impounded chicken.
impounded chickens, yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can get him, yeah,
Okay, Bronx, come,
he's gonna do that all day.
come here. Come.
Good boy.
There you go. Come here.
Oh my God, it's fine.
Come here.
Good to go?
Yep. Okay. Got a wonky leg. This is his left.
Oh, you got the touch. So we just come in. Here. First one here. I have to move this. I have to move this. I can't move. You want me to go over there? No, you just stand there. Well, I thought you wanted. I thought you wanted me to film you. I thought you wanted me to film you. Film just for me. What I'm doing. Oh, okay. Just all in the picture. Just all in the picture.
Gotcha.
Bronx, and so this dog here, this Parkins, kind of feeding off you. So right now you can see his tail is down, but it's wagging. When the tail is straight up, that's dominance. The projection of dominance. When the tail is straight up, that's alert, like a sport dog. When the tail is down, it's relaxed. When the tail is down with the end tucked in between the hind legs, that's nervous, anxious, insecure, or a sign of respect. When the tail is tucked tight to the belly, that's fear. So it's always important to see the tail first because the tail tells you the state of mind of the dog. And in this situation, when you're coming into what the dog sees as its territory, and it has its tail straight up in the air, it's saying, this is my territory. That's why the tail is straight up. A wagging tail does not mean happy. It means energy. A dog that's happy could be wagging its tail, but so can a dog that's about to bite you. And in many cases, they are wagging their tail. That's why a lot of people say, oh, I thought the dog was friendly, because it was wagging its tail, and they went to pet it. So he's in a more of a relaxed state, but in a higher energy state of the mind. When we talk about energy, it's not the body, it's the energy of the mind. The body is only a projection of the energy of the mind. So I'm going to take my mask off here now as I go in with him. You see, he's making eye contact with me. His pupils are normal, they're not dilated. His body is not leaning forward. And he's not in a highly alert state, so he's not worried about my presence. As I come in, I have to go on. And that's because when you have a dog that's in an unbalanced state of mind, and you look him in the eye, to the dog, you're correcting it, challenging it, or dominating it. None of which are good to a dog in an unbalanced, territorial, assertive, dominant state of mind. And that's why you have to ignore the dog. So Bronx is smelling me. Now he's starting to touch me. So they're going to come in close to smell, but they're not going to touch. They're not going to touch because they don't want to enter your personal space unless they feel that they have your permission or acceptance. It's not just permission, it's permission or acceptance to do it. And if I have a dog that's coming in close smelling me, and I don't look at it or move towards it, I just ignore it. That's me saying I'm accepting you coming into me. So they smell, and then eventually they touch. And that touch is intentional. So the touch says that they're now comfortable enough with you to enter the personal space. Once they touch you, that's when you can now reciprocate that to try and touch the dog. And that's where I hold my hand out, palm up. You see, right away, he smells my hand and he touches my hand. And that he places his head right so that my palm is in his cheek. And that puts my fingertips in the jowls of the neck, which is right here. I don't know if you can see that, Gary. So I always have to do this with my right hand first. He's smelling the leash. There's lots of dog smells on the leash. So when you pet a dog right there in the jowls, very, very gently with your fingertips, that's how the mother licks her puppy's neck. And that's how a mother shows affection to her dogs, is licking the neck. So no doubt one of the issues that Bronx has is he doesn't like it when people, since these incidents, before the incidents he seemed to be fine with it, but since these incidents, he's not happy with somebody that he doesn't trust reaching out to pet him on the top of the head. And that's because when you try to pet a dog on the top of the head, you see how even there, he's just lifting his head up to look at it, see? To have a smell of it. So when you try to pet a dominant dog on the top of the head, they see it as dominance and aggression. And that's why they back away or they bite you. So the dogs that back away aren't fearful. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. What they're saying is, hey, why are you trying to dominate me? Or why are you being aggressive to me? Why are you trying to come over me? Because that's what the dog sees. The dog that bites you is a confident, dominant dog. It's usually just a nip. Sometimes it's a bite. That depends on the level of dominance. But the dog is saying, hey, I've already told you by the way I'm looking at you that I'm not comfortable with you coming into my personal space, and now you're coming into my personal space to touch me. So I have no other choice but to defend myself and give you the nip or the bite. And that's all it is. It's self-defense. You may be coming in thinking you know all this love and happiness and a treat and all that stuff, but you're staring right at the dog and you're going to pet it like that. The dog sees it as dominance and aggression. And now, how would you feel if a human being tried to come up that you weren't comfortable with, come up to try to put you on the top of the head or hug you, right? You'd move away, or some people might punch them, right? You're defending yourself, defending your personal space. And that's exactly what the dog is doing. So now that he's laid down on his own, this is showing that he's completely comfortable and relaxed in my presence. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be laying down. We got a bone here with him. And he's actually asking me to play with him in the bone. The way, because he's not coming over the bone. He's not intently chewing the bone or anything like that. He actually wants me to play with the bone. So I squat down sideways to the dog. Again, I'm not looking at him, right? No eye contact. First thing I do is I hold out my hand, palm up again, whenever you come in to want to touch, do anything with the dog, grab a collar, grab a leash. It's like the child, the 2-year-old. You don't just grab them and start stuffing them in the coat. You say, come on, come here to dad. I'm going to put your coat on. And that's what you're doing when you hold your hand out. You're saying, hi, mom here. How you doing, baby? I love you. Give them a little bit of affection in the jowls. Again, remember, this is the mother licking the neck. And then I can pet with the other hand. You see, he's just having a nice smell. All his muscles are relaxed. Everything is good. And if I want, I know I can take that bone, even though it's under that pop. See, he moved the pop. He's not even interested in the bone. That could be a marrow bone, it could be a T-bone steak, it would be the same thing, right? So you see how his energy has completely changed from the time we arrived until now, and it hasn't been that long. And that's because when we're dealing with dogs like, dangerous dogs like Bronx, it's not about the behavior, it's understanding why. Dogs don't want to be reactive aggressive. They just feel they have to be. And that's because they don't see the human that's with them as their mother. So right now I'm asking them to sit, but I'm going to get them off the bed here first because that doesn't seem too stable. And I'll ask them to sit. There he goes. And as soon as he sat, you can see he stopped wagging his tail as soon as he sat. And that's because sit is a lower energy stance than standing. Laying is a lower energy stance than sitting. So he knows by me asking him to sit that I also want you to relax. Which means I want you to stop wagging your tail. I want your mind to relax. He sits, I look at him until he looks at me, and then I hold my hand out to give direction. That I have on him here is called a slip leash.
Got it again. Okay.
So again, I'm just asking him to sit, relax. So now I just want to move over in this area here, just so we can move away from this barking dog. Stop barking. So just come on in so I can close the gate. Jerry?
I was going to do it from here, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I need a distance to be able to get everything in.
So the leash that I have on is called the slip lead. This is the same lead that they use in the dog shows. In the dog shows, they use it to keep the head artificially high. But the slip leash, the 3/8 inch slip leash, a lot of people have is thicker than this. It's a 1/2 inch. This is a 3/8 inch. There's no more effective tool to use to ask a dog to calmly follow behind you no matter where you go or what you pass. And that's because you're able to communicate to the dog through the leash. So there's 2 corrections. So in the dog world, there's 4 levels of correction. The first one is a very loud, sharp bark. That's what we simulate with the tss noise that you hear me make. The noise is also commands, sit down, stay, is tss, tss, right? So a level 2 correction, people see this a lot where a dog comes with a bark or a growl and they run toward the other dog beheaded in the side of the neck. We see that a lot, just that rah. My female Melina, she always barks 3 times rah, 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 as she goes in to do a level 2 correction. When that's done properly, they don't nip or bite, they just touch. A level 3 correction, which is a very assertive correction, that's where the dog runs up and nips the other dog right here on the side. Usually you'll see a fluff of fur go, there won't be any damage. That's why some dogs nip or bite the neck when they're coming in to do a level 2 correction, because instinctually they know the nip is in there somewhere. But because they didn't grow up in a pack where they learned about this stuff properly, they don't know how to do the correction properly, and that's why they're doing the nip at the neck. So the nip takes place back here for the level 3. And then a level 4 correction, which we only use for aggression, that's where the dog comes lightning fast with a strong bark, growl, and they get the dog at the neck and they put the dog down on the ground, right? This is where a lot of people think that you're supposed to pin the dog. So right here, I'm asking them not to bite the leash. I'll ask them to sit again.
Battery is low.
Okay. Okay, so some people think with the level 4 correction is where you're supposed to force the dog down on the ground and pin it. And you don't do that. Anybody that watches this, you never pin a dog. They think that because they see some dogs do that. But those are unbalanced dogs doing the correction wrong. They didn't learn how to do it properly by growing up in a pack, in a family. So you just touch the neck until the dog is down on the side. Now if it's a level 4 correction, that's really fast. It's lightning fast. Now I'm just asking them as a mother just to lay down on the side and relax. Here, good. See? This is perfect. This is total balance. Totally understands what I'm asking as a mother. So that wasn't the level 4. This, what I just did, is called the relaxation exercise. Anywhere, any place, any time, you should be able to ask your dog to sit, lay down, roll over, relax. Okay? Even at the vet's office. Even in the middle of a dog park. When the dog lays out like this, with its legs out to the side like this, or when a dog lays on its back, that shows that the dog, and sleeps, that shows that the dog knows it's 100% safe and protected while it sleeps. It doesn't have to worry about getting up quick. It's safe. It'll get lots of warning before anything happens to it. A nervous, anxious, insecure, fearful dog, they're going to lay down on the side of the bump with the front paws flat on the ground. And that's so that if any noise, anything, they can get up quick. And you see that with those dogs when they're taking a nap. Any noise, they rise. Some of them jump right up, right? They don't feel safe. So once a dog lays down like this, it feels safe, okay? 4 out of 5. So with the relaxation exercise, once they lay down on their side, as I'm asking them, because I'm giving them a command, I'm looking at them as I ask them to lay down and roll over. Once they do what you want, you have to stop looking at the dog, right? The only time a mother dog looks at her puppies, like without blinking, she's looking at them, is when they're doing something wrong. When they're doing things right, she blinks her eyes. And that's how a mother says thank you to her puppies. You don't say thank you, you just blink your eyes. So when I'm looking at a dog, correcting it, challenging it, anything like that, commands, and I'm looking, I don't blink. The second the dog does what I want it to do, I blink. It's a slow blink. And again, that's how you're saying thank you. That's when you come and you reach out with your hand palm up when they're sitting in front of you. When they're laying down, you come in sideways without looking at the dog. I bend down with my hand like this. This isn't dominating, this is just a hand signal to stay. To ask him to stay. If he lifts his head up, I make that tiss noise to say no. My hand is aloft. Once he lays his head down, I take my hand away. You see, his foot is touching me here. This is the only time you move away from a dog, is when you're doing the relaxation exercise and they try to touch you. You know, I move my body away. I don't want them to touch me. And that's because they'll be exerting muscle, energy in order to touch you. They're not completely relaxed if they're exerting muscle energy. So I move to allow the leg to just fall into relax. So again, I come down with my hand. I make a tiss noise, I stare at him. Till he lays his head down, relaxes. I turn away, wait for more relaxation in the body. But you see his eye is still full open. So the body is calm, but the mind is not. Relaxed. And you see that in the eye. The eye tells you whether or not a dog is relaxed or not. So when a dog is in an alert state, aware state, fight, flight, anything like that, their eyes are going to be full open and they're not going to be blinking. The higher they are in that state of mind, the more dilated the pupils are going to be. So now you see his eyes are starting to soft. So already he's starting to relax. The eye goes from full open to half open and they start to blink. So now this is where I come in with my hand. And I very gently with my fingertips rub the chest in a circular motion. This has a very calming effect on the dog. And I don't look at him, but if I do look at him, I close my eyes or I softly blink my eyes as if I'm going to sleep. And this is me now feeding in the calm, relaxed energy I want him to be through the projection of my energy, the softness of my touch, and the softness of my eye. If you want to have a calm, relaxed dog, you have to be the source of the calm, relaxed energy. Especially
when they're in a reactive aggressive state of mind. You have to remain calm in order to feed in that calmness. So now he's going to sleep. So that's that. Now I just became his mom.
Turn it off.
Okay. Yeah. Good. How much battery life have we got left?
All right.
Okay, so now I brought my Stella. She's in the thing over here. Just the crow. So again, before I put the leash on or anything, I always ask him to sit. Again, as soon as he sits, he stops wagging his tail. To relax, I give him a bit of affection. You always let him smell whatever the object is, because the dog knows the world for himself. The dog doesn't know you by how you look. The dog knows you by how you smell. So again, I ask him. So, he knows the Stella's in there. You see his tail's not coming straight up. He's still not projecting dominance. He's still down more in the relaxed state. The wagging tail, his energy's going up a little bit. You see now the body is leaning forward. I'm not pulling back, that's just him leaning forward, wanting to go. So, with the leash, when you want to give that level 2 correction, which is the touch to the neck, that's where you snap the leash to the side. So you see right away he stops smelling. Now I move him back. I ask him to sit. And this is where I'm communicating to him that your energy is too high, meaning the dog. Just like children, socialization, they need to learn how to meet dogs. They need to learn how to meet people. And I don't want you doing it in a high energy state, jumping on people. I want you doing it in a calm, relaxed state, being polite when you meet people, and the same with other dogs. Okay, so Stella's having a number 2. So you see, even though I'm moving forward, he's still staying. That's good. So now I bring him in, and right away I get in between him and my dog. Right away. So Stella is smelling him, but I'm asking him to ignore her smelling. So when he looks at her, I correct. I'm going to put here. Good. And you see, he's now having to move toward the dog. Now the tail, you see, now the tail is coming up just above level. So when it's straight out like that, that's alert. And when it comes up, that's where it's starting to go into dominance. That's where he's starting to show just that little bit of territoriality. But then the tail comes back down. So see, the tail comes back up. Now watch, I give a correction. Tail goes down. Give another correction. Turns the focus away from that dog, puts his focus on me, starts to smell me. And that's exactly what that conversation was. I don't want you looking at that dog in an alert state of mind or a dominant state of mind. I want you looking at the dog in a relaxed state of mind with your tail down, like that. Tail goes up, I correct, tail goes down. Dogs don't speak English or any other human language. They communicate with each other through energy, sound, and touch. And that's what I'm replicating. My energy is the eye contact, the sound is the tiss, and the touch is the touch. So now you see Stella, she just gave him a little correction there. You might have seen a little jump in him in the video.
So you want to start that over?
Sure.
Yeah. So when I came in, you have the other dog is barking, and you see the Bronx isn't. Bronx's tail originally was not full level, almost level, so still relaxed, alert, wagging, a little bit higher energy with my dog, Melina. So the fact that he's not acting like the other dog is acting shows again that he's not a dangerous, aggressive, territorial dog. You just leave it. If he was, he'd be barking. Unless he's an alpha, but then he'd be there with his tail straight up in the air. So this is Melina. She's my alpha female. So coming in here to meet Melina, I'm asking Bronx again to sit, relax. And that's when if you're asking him to sit, you don't listen, you just pull straight up, release, pull to sit. So Melina's right here. He's sniffing a little bit of a body lean. I'm correcting that because I don't want him to go to the fence to smell. I want him to learn to start smelling at a distance. You don't need to be next to the dog to smell it. You can start to smell it from a distance. And this is helping him to associate this dog's scent with this calm state of mind. If they're in a high energy state, barking and going nuts at the gate, they're associating each other with that state of mind instead of calm. So that's why we want them calm first. And again, coming in, I'm going to move Melina away from the gate. Nobody can be near the gate when you come in. You need to have that space. And this shows this dog that these dogs see me as their mother as well. They listen to me. So now he comes in, but again, I turn him away from Melina. And I ask him to ignore her while she smells him. And this is important. This isn't bad. A dog that's really nervous, insecure, they're going to tuck the bum. When their dog comes up to smell them, you see it all the time. They tuck the bum or they sit on the bum. And that's because they're nervous, they're unsure. But you see now his tail is going above level just a little bit, and the energy is to wag, right? I'm asking him, trying to break the focus, again, to just relax. See, the body is leaning forward. So I pull up, asking him to sit. So now the energy, the assertiveness of my correction increases because of his energy. And every time I snap the leash to the side and I make that hiss noise, I'm saying no. I'm saying no. You cannot focus on that dog with that type of energy, that type of dominance, that type of assertiveness, that type of territoriality, that type of energy. I want you to look at and associate and meet these dogs in a calm, relaxed state of mind. So by walking them around, correcting that focus, I'm bringing the focus back on me, but not that he's looking at me and following me like a zombie. It's just that he's not focusing on them. Okay? So now I'll bring him back over here, but I'm going to bring him up behind Melina. Ease his path in, just to let him smell. The leash, to be effective, has to be right at the top of the neck. So he's very intent in smelling her, just like he was very intent. You see the power he's putting down there? He really wants to smell that scent. And it's too intense. So that's why I'm saying to just no, again, relax. Associate the scent, the dog, everything, relax. Once he's relaxed, and I bring him up again, but I bring him up behind the dog. But I lead him to the dog. I have to make sure I'm in front of him coming up to that dog. And that's how I'm showing I'm the mother leading you to meet another dog. No tension in the leash. When your dog is meeting another dog, there can't be any tension. See what I'm doing? You follow your dog to be by the side. No tension. I have the leash so that if something happens, I can correct, move away. So it's right there. The bum is where we want them to smell. Once they start smelling the head, that's when you have dominant dogs, that's where the challenge is going to start, when they get up by the head, because they start making eye contact, and we don't want that. So he obviously needs socialization. He's not aggressive. If he was, if he wanted to attack both dogs right off the bat, like with children, we don't train our children, we teach them. And the three main lessons we teach them are to socialize properly, to play properly, and to be respectful. Dogs teach their children the same lessons, but if the dog doesn't grow up in a pack, in a dog family, they're not learning those lessons because the humans in their life don't know how to teach them those lessons. They don't even know what they are in the first place, right? So that's why we have these issues in society with dominant dogs. They just haven't learned how to socialize properly. And that's all he needs right now with other dogs, right? These are the teachers of my pack. These dogs teach other dogs how to be calm and relaxed, how to play properly. So his motion in there was a little too quick, so I corrected it. You see, Stella's not worried about his energy at all. If she was, she'd be moving away or she'd be correcting him. See? But she's not. And that's because she knows I have everything under control. Right there, he went from the bum toward the head again, and I just gave him a little correction to say, no, don't go near the head. I'll bring him back over here to Melina. But I'm coming on this side because if I come on this side, they can make eye contact because of the way her head is turned, right? So I come in on this side, again, with my body in between her, and I bring him up to let him smell. But my body is by the head, so I'm blocking him from smelling the head here. If he does try, again, I just correct him and move him back. I want him to get used to, so right there, see? He concentrates on the head, I correct him and move him back. And I'm saying, no, don't concentrate on the head, concentrate on the back. This is how we meet dogs. Okay? When Melina is comfortable with you, she's going to come up to your head as the alpha female to accept you and to give you affection. So now I'm going to ask him, come bring a little closer here and ask him to sit. Give him affection. While I give Melina affection. Same thing, as soon as he looks at Melina, I stop touching, I correct. Now that yawn there, that's really good. I've been kind of waiting for that. Some people think that when they yawn like that, it's because they're stressed. Do you yawn when you're stressed? We yawn as a way of releasing the last bit of energy of the mind as the mind goes from level 3 to 1. The body is used to dispel the energy of the mind above level 3. The yawn is used to dispel energy of the mind below level 3. That's why we yawn. So now he's turned away from the dog on his own. That shows disinterest now. And now I can let go of the leash, keep giving attention to me. See? You have to be able to read the body language, the signs, the tail, the head, the ears, the fur, everything. So right here, I'm just going to ask him to stop and sit. He looks at me, affection, leash. Good job, Stella. Good job. And Stella and Melina are remaining calm through all of this and relaxing. That's what they're doing to help him. This is where they're kind of saying to him, look, this is all we do around here. Just relax. It's all about the love. Just relax. But in order to do that, they have to project that calm, relaxed energy, just like I do, right? And with the leash, the big thing with the leash is tension in the leash. As soon as you put tension in the leash, you're putting tension in the dog. If you're behind the dog on leash, you're telling the dog that it's your mother. You need it to protect you. And that's a submissive dog, that's fine. Submissive dogs, no problem with being in front. But when you have a dominant dog, you have to be in front of them as you walk. You have to lead them as the mother. The puppies always follow their mother. Bear cubs, chicks, everybody follows the mother. That's why, because babies know the mother is leading them and protecting them. So now, because he's moved away, he's yawned, he did really good there with Melina, or with Stella, and seeing her again. So now I'm going to bring him up to Melina, but toward her head, instead of toward the tail. And see, she just ignores him. Little smell, little wag. I can give a little correction, little wag. So she's ignoring him intentionally, not out of nervousness or fear. It's intentional. And that's how she's projecting confidence. I don't need to acknowledge you. It's not that I'm rude or have an ego. I'm the alpha female. I'm a very confident individual. I don't need your acknowledgement, and I don't need to acknowledge you. So his tail, you see when he's smelling her, see now she just totally relaxed her head again. When he's coming in to smell, his tail is still wagging, so he's still in a high energy state. And that's still inappropriate. That tail has to be stopped wagging and relaxed before Melina will accept him, or before Stella will accept him, or before any other member of my pack will accept him. I can put him in a pen like this with 10 dogs, and they'll all ignore him, completely ignore him, until he comes up to them properly with the right energy to say hello. So now I'll bring him up to Stella's head. You had interest in the wall before. Stella, sniff the wall first. See, going back to the wall. The 11, see the tail now starting to become more relaxed, less wag. And this is because he's starting to become more comfortable now in their presence. He's understanding that neither one of them are a threat to him. Neither one of them are correcting him, challenging him, or dominating him. Right? They're both just do your thing. Now he's panting. See? And that's another good thing. When they're in a high level of state of mind, level 7 or above, of being territorial, alert, fight, flight, dominance, unbalanced, insecure, anything like that. Once the mind goes above level 7, they stop smelling. And they also stop panting. And that's because they're switching to full-on eyes, ears. The nose is used to track and to find things at a distance. Once the object is in front of me, I don't need my nose anymore. I switch to eyes, ears. And that's why dogs in unbalanced, reactive, aggressive states of mind won't take treats. They're not smelling. They're not using their nose. It's survival time, safety, protection. Soldiers don't stop in the middle of a firefight to eat. It's not time to eat. And it's the same with the dog when they perceive a threat or a danger. It's not time to eat. You might not see what they see as a threat or a danger, but they do. And that's what's important. So once they go below level 7, energy of the mind, they start to panic. Good job. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
So, just a little technical thing with the camera. So whenever you look a dog in the eye, you're challenging it, correcting it, or dominating it. That's it. Even if you're, I love you, dogs love me, handful of treats, all that kind of stuff. They don't see and acknowledge any of that. All they see is you looking at them. Okay? So this energy is really good. This is totally normal to me. Happy dog, wanting to engage. Totally different body language from when the city's assessor was working with Bronx. So now I'm just going to go into crate. And again, as I'm coming in, I don't look at them. Just to ask them to move back a little bit. And I don't look, and I just let them smell me, right? And again, my energy is calm, relaxed, so that he sees that I'm not challenging him, correcting him, dominating him, anything like that. So he just touched me there, just as a smell, not that he's doing anything aggressive. When you're meeting a dog, the dog is going to smell you, but you generally have to wait until the dog touches you. So again, he's touching me here. So that's because in order for the dog to touch you, it has to be accepting going into your personal space. And it's not going to do that unless it trusts the energy that you're projecting, right? Whenever you introduce yourself to a dog, you never hold out your hand like this. You hold your hand out palm up. You see, right away, he smells it, touches it, and then I give him the affection underneath the jowls. So when you hold your hand back of your hand to a dog like this is closed. This is saying, stay away from me. This is open. This is saying, come to me on a psychological level. So again, if I hold out my hand, smells, touch, comes to me, and I give him the affection in the jowls. And this affection right here in the jowls, this is the only place and manner in which you can give a dog
or touch a dog where they see it, feel it, and understand that it's physical affection. And that's because dogs don't pet each other on the head, and a mother doesn't hug her puppies the way we hug our children. A mother dog shows physical affection to her puppies by licking their neck. She also nuzzles the neck with the muzzle. So when you move your fingertips very soft and gentle like this in the jowls, you're mimicking the lick of the mother. And this touch is extremely important because this is where you're beginning that trust relationship where the dog starts to see you as its mother. I can have a fearful dog that will not look at anybody. But yet the second I start to pet with both hands here in the jowls, they look at me every time. There's a good boy. So now once he looks at me, then I close my eyes and I softly blink my eyes. So his tail is still wagging energy, so I want to ask him to relax, so I'm going to ask him to sit. And then I get in front and I stare at him until he stares at me. He's looking at me right away. I need to get in front of him. I'll just move him back a little bit by just going into his face. There we go. And now I stare at him until he stares at me and the tail stops wagging. His tail has stopped. Now I wait for him to look at me again. Each time as I come down, his tail starts to wag. I stop my movement. I give a correction. So I'm just asking him to sit again. He wants to lay down, that's fine. Tail stops wagging. And now I come down and I give the affection. So now I'm thanking him for going into an even more relaxed state of mind. Because all I want is for him to be relaxed. So I'm asking him to be relaxed. So the affection is thanking him for that, but I'm also feeding in that calm, relaxed energy that I want him to be. So that's good. So I'm just going to move him over on his bed. Ask him to sit. Lay down is good. Well, I'm just going to borrow one of their leashes here. So this is called a slip lead, slip leash. It's the most effective way of teaching a dog to walk properly on a leash. Again, whenever you're introducing anything to a dog, muzzle, leash, collar, you let the dog smell it first. That's how it knows it, and then I come in and I give the affection. He looks at me, I close my eyes and I blink. So this is creating a positive association of the object to the mother's touch. So the object comes to represent the affection of the mother. And once I feel the relaxation in the head, the muscles, then I put it on top of the neck, lift up. And then we'll just come over into this area here. So I'm just going to walk them around a little bit first. Just get them to follow me. And then I stop. And then I ask them to sit. And I ask them to lay down. Now I ask them to roll over. Now I ask them to lay down, relax, go to sleep. So this here on its own, this is just called a relaxation exercise. You should be able to ask your dog to sit, lay down, roll over, relax anywhere, even in the middle of a dog park. This is where I'm building the trust aspect of the relationship. Any relationship, especially with the dog, it has to be built on trust and respect. Nobody's going to respect you if they don't trust you first, so you have to build trust first. So the relaxation exercise and affection is where we build trust. So once the dog lays down on his side, you see his tail is out, he's totally relaxed, all the paws are down. This is where you come sideways now. I'm not looking at the dog anymore. And I come in sideways. If he lifts his head, I just ask him to lay back down. And then I rub the chest. At this point, the only place you can touch is the chest, very gently in a circular motion. This has a very calming effect on the dog. And then as we do this, you're going to see the eyes start to soften, where they start to blink. They go from being open full to open 3/4, and they start to soften right there. So once the eye softens, that's when you can start petting with a flat head along the back. You see the eye opens, you stop petting, go back to the chest, wait for the eye to soften. And then you pet here again. So normally when I do this, like for a dog that's in for rehabilitation, when I start doing the relaxation exercises, I continue to pet them until the dog falls asleep. And that's how you come to represent the calm, peaceful energy of sleep. But the other important part of this is that a dog will not go to sleep on its side with its legs out like this or on its back unless it knows it's 100% safe and protected. A nervous, anxious, insecure dog, when they lay down, they're going to lay over on the side of the bum with the front paws flat on the ground so they can get up in a hurry if they need to. When a dog lays out like this, it shows that it's totally comfortable and relaxed in its surroundings, and it's not worried about having to be alert. You can just relax and just go to sleep. So this is really good. I'm just going to walk around a little bit more. See, no tension on the leash. His position is behind me. That's where I want him. And this is how he sees me as his mom. When a mom is walking with her puppies, all those puppies are following her. Same with chicks, bear cubs, they're all following the mom. And that's because they know the mom is leading them and protecting them. And especially in the dog world, the mother is saying to the puppies, I can't protect you if you're in front of me. I can only protect you if you're behind me. So I want you to follow. If you have a submissive dog, they can walk out in front. You see people with the leash and the dog out in front of them all the time. But they're not a nuisance. They're not reactive. They're not barking. They're just happy-go-lucky out in front of their owner. But when you have a dominant dog, which is only 30% of dogs, they need to follow you. Because if they don't see you taking over that role of the mother to be the leader and the protector, then they feel that they need to. And that's exactly what's going to be happening when your dog is walking in front, when your dominant dog is in front, especially if that tail is straight up. Remember, that's the projection of dominance. And this is where the issues, especially with a dog like Bronx, start. Because he sees something that he might perceive as a threat to either himself or his owner or his territory. But without the owner in front of him, there's nothing there, there's just a threat. So that's why when you're in front and the dog sees the threat, it sees you in between itself and the threat, acting as the mother. And in that situation, the mother is only going to do one of two things. She's either going to deal with the danger by having the puppies behind her to protect, or she's going to turn and face the puppy with her back to whatever the puppy is perceiving as a threat. And this is how she's communicating to the puppy that what you're looking at is not a threat. You don't need to worry about it. So I have my back into them, they sit, they look at me, and then I give the affection. So when I'm in front of a dog like this, giving the affection, very gently, the conversation I'm having is, I'm your mom. I'm going to protect you. You have nothing to worry about, so just ignore everything that's going on around you, focus on me, and I'll give you affection. I'll give you a hug. So he looks at me here, and the head just lowers a little bit, right there. I see the softness in the eyes, I feel the softness in his muscles, and that's when you can come over there. And I kiss him on the top of the head. A mother dog does put her head over her puppies, but she doesn't do it out of dominance.
She does it as a way of communicating to her puppy that I'm your mom. I'm over you as an umbrella of protection. I'm not over you to dominate you. I'm over you to protect you. Just like children, you can touch your child in fashions that you wish, and the child is usually okay with it. So generally with a dominant dog, they're not going to be happy when people try to pet them on the top of the head, especially if they don't know you, trust you, and respect you. Most people that get bit every year get bit by trying to pet a dog on the top of the head. And that's because when you try to pet a dog on the head to the dog, you are being dominant and aggressive. The same if you reach over their back, if you try not to touch their hindquarters, anything like that. And that's because when one dog wants to dominate another, they put the paw over the back, they put their head over, they put their body over, or they try to mount. They want to be over the dog. So when you go to pet a dog on the top of the head, that's exactly what the dog sees. So a dominant dog that's on the nervous, insecure spectrum, they're going to move away from you like that, cower, some people call it. And a lot of people think that that's fear, that the dog is being fearful. It must have been abused. It's never been abused. That's how the dog is saying, whoa, what are you doing? Why are you trying to dominate me? Why are you being aggressive to me? I don't even know you, right? And then other dogs, as soon as you try to pet them on the head, you're going to bite you. And that's where they're saying, I've already warned you by looking at you. My body language was saying, I don't want you to come near me, but you ignored it and continued to try to pet me. So now I got no choice but to bite you or to nip you or to mouth you. Whether it's a mouth, nip, or bite, and there are 3 different levels there, depends on the level of dominance in the dog. So a more insecure dominant dog is going to move away from you, and a very dominant, confident dog is going to bite you. How would you feel if a stranger that you weren't comfortable with just came up to come into your personal space and to try and pet you on the head? What would you do? You would either move away from them, you'd be okay with it, fluff it off, or you'd punch them. It's the same response in a human that you're seeing in a dog for the same reason. All right, so we're just going to get him back in his crate here, his kennel. So putting leashes on, off, I call it addressing the dog. You want to be in front of them, ask them to sit, whatever you're doing, leashes on, off, and then the affection. Now, once you've earned the trust and respect of the dog, then they have no problem with you petting them on the top of the head. It's fine. They trust you and respect you. But until that point, you need to pet here, underneath. Hey, baby? Kisses. Kisses. I know. So this is Stella. She's my pack matriarch grandmother. She's 15 years old. She's the top dog at my home. I have about 30 dogs under my care right now. I'm just going to put her in here. So right there, I was just testing to see how he was feeling about something going over his head without me giving the affection first. I just come right over the head with the leash, and he just did that little bit of that with the head. And I gave the affection right away, and immediately his head came up and he relaxed and he was fine with it. And that's what I'm always saying, when you come in, you give the affection, then you try and put the leash on, take the leash off, collar. You want to give the affection first. So Bronx has been in here since March. It's now September 16th. And he hasn't been socializing with other dogs since he's been in here. Might pass him on a leash walk, but that's about it. So that's a long time to not be socializing with other dogs. So you see he's got a little bit of interest in Stella.
His tail wag and position is exact same as it was when he first met me. So his body language, his energy, his focus, everything is the same as it was when he met me. So I just let him get a little bit of a smell here. So you see how he's moving past me here. And this is where you pull up. He moves back. Ask him to sit. He relaxes with his tail, affection. And this is where I'm saying, no, your energy is getting a little too much, your focus is getting a little too much. So now just sit, relax, and then we move forward. So as I bring him in, I'm going to want him to ignore the other dog. I'll walk him around at first to ask him to ignore. And this again is, conversation is on your mom. It's my job to lead you, protect you. And I'm going to introduce you to that dog, but I want your energy to be appropriate before I do. So every time he focuses, I give a little correction, that noise. That's how you say no to a dog. It's also command, sit down, stay. And that's because the first way that a dog corrects another dog is a very loud, sharp bark. It's a very specific bark. And that's what that tiss noise simulates. So I'm going to ask him to sit. I'm asking him to sit the same way the mom does. She's going to bark as she motions toward the puppy. To ask him to sit, she'll bark again to ask him to lay down. And then she'll either bark, growl, snarl to ask him to stay. So now, when you're introducing a dog to another dog, it's always best to bring the dog up to the bum of the other dog. Let them smell the bums first. So he's going over a little bit there. See the tail wag, but now the tail is coming up, see? It's alert going into a little bit of dominance and a tail wag. So that's too much, so I correct him and move him away. And that's that conversation is, no, right now your energy is too high, you're becoming too alert and a little dominant with your tail coming up. So I just want you to relax. And then I can bring him in to smell the dog again. Tail coming up, wagging again. I correct. I move him away from the dog. So now I'm going to bring Stella up behind him. Switch leashes. Go. And Stella's not going to be too interested in smelling them, right? And that's because, and you see she turns her back to him. She wants to ignore him. So again, he's having a smell. A little over. Again, the tail coming up again. Right, correct. Move away. So, I'll just make it easier for you with the camera. So I'll bring Stella over here. And this is good, coming up behind. He's not pushing into her. So right there, coming over. That's okay. I'm going to ask him to sit now. And then I give Stella affection. And then I give him affection. So this is helping him to see that the other dog represents the affection, because it's in his presence while he's getting affection. Anything that's happening to a dog while you're giving this affection in here of the mother becomes the affection of your mother. So it's helping to establish a good relationship between the dog and the other dog right off the bat, so that they each represent calm, relaxed energy to each other. They each represent affection to each other. They're starting off to be friends. Yes. So right there, he turned away. So that's showing, you know, he's met her, he's smelled her, he's comfortable with her. He sees, this is good. So as he comes in again, I just watch. He can't be too dominant, he can't be over, he can't be too pushy. He has to be respectful. Respect her space. Smell from a distance, and then again, see, he turns away. Marking. So this is where I come in now to block, in between. I face him and walk into him until he sits. Get the focus, affection. So if you don't have the leash, and a dog is coming up into another dog, and it starts to act in any type of an inappropriate manner, you good?
Got a call coming in.
Oh, no, no.
Can hardly get it
Just
off
the
of there.
red one.
No.
So we don't have the leash. So that's where you get in between the two dogs. You face the dog that's being inappropriate to correct, to move it back. And this is where I'm claiming this other dog, and I'm also correcting him to say again, your energy is too high, too dominant, whatever the case may be. Sit, relax, which means your tail stops wagging, focus, affection, and then I just walk away and let them play again. And that's how I'm teaching them how to play. Whenever they start to act in an inappropriate manner, you just correct them, sit, relax, look at me, focus, affection. So, again, this is me playing. Too much. I don't want you focusing on her right now. I'm giving her affection. I want you to give us space. And then I give him affection once he behaves properly. Again, focusing more on me than her. Okay. Now I'm going to put him back in the crate. No. So this is Melina. She's my alpha female. She's pack matriarch, but she's mother teacher, where Stella is the grandmother. So Melina is the dog that meets every dog that comes to my place for rehabilitation. Dogs that I work on consultations, Melina is always the first dog to meet them. I'm going to put her here with Stella. So this time now, just to show you again, before I put the leash on, smell, touch, affection, then I put the leash on. And you see there's no adverse reaction to that, where the last time when I didn't give the affection first, I got that little bit of a tilt in the head and the eye blink. We always give the affection first. So again, here I come up to the gate. See again, the tail is coming up. It's just above level, so it's alert, a little bit of dominant, wagging tail, energy. He's smelling. If he was really aggressive, this would be a fence fight right away, especially with Melina. Because you see Melina has her tail up, alert, just slightly above level dominance, a little bit of a wag. So they're kind of matching each other for the tail and the state of mind. So again, I'm just going to give a little correction. Moving back. Ask them to sit. A little bit of affection. See, we bring the body back to calm, relaxed, and then we move forward again. So coming in, I ask these dogs to move away from the gate. So I'm just going to pull up. So ask him to move back, sit. He's moving in. Instead of waiting for me to move in, I can just feel there's just a little bit of forward motion where he just wants to move in. And that's when you pull up and hold. Okay, move back and sit. Okay. So, I'm going to bring him in. Same thing with Stella. You see that body stance there? Legs spread out and wants to go. This is more playful. He wants to play. So, same thing, walk him around, ask him to ignore. Sit. Try to relax. So Melina's just totally laid down, relaxed. See, your tail is relaxed. Bella's relaxed. And this is intentional on their part. This is how they're helping him, showing him. You see, we're no threat. We're not looking at you, challenging you, dominating you, nothing. We're total chill, cool. So bring him up behind. You smell the bum. We're trying to move ahead again. So I lift up and move him back. I want him to follow me up to the dog. You don't let your dog go up front. You lead the dog to the other dog to say hello, or person. And that, in case anything happens, you're already up there to deal with the situation as the mother. So you can see Melina's not even flinching, nothing. She's totally fine with him. She has no concern about him. No tension in the leash, but I'm ready so that if anything was to happen, I could correct and move him away. So same with Stella. The tail is alert, coming just a little bit above alert, and the wag of energy. So a high energy alert state. And again, this is more because he hasn't socialized with dogs for so long than anything else. If he was really aggressive, he'd be already wanting to attack the dog, me holding the leash or not. So this is good. So see, he just turned away on his own. And he's fine with her smelling her. He feels comfortable with her. So now I can bring him up to the head. I'll just be here and let him come. And see if he walks away. That's when again I know I'm done. Now also remember that Bronx is not neutered, an unneutered male, 4 years old. So now I'm going to give my dog's affection, ignoring Bronx. He sees this. Now he comes over, and I start to give him affection. Now, the first assessment that we did, we had dogs that were barking, very high energy, reactive dogs over here in these two kennels. Their energy was affecting Bronx. His energy was a little bit higher, but he was more alert because of the alertness of the other barking dogs. And in that assessment, he did a challenge towards Melina. We did a bark, kind of growl, snap, moving towards her, which I corrected, got him to sit, relax. So he hasn't done anything like that this time. He's obviously remembering them from the last time we did the assessment, which wasn't that long ago, it was a few weeks. But again, there's none of that barking dogs. The only energy he's feeling is my calm, relaxed energy and my dog's calm, relaxed energy. There's no other outside energy that's adding energy to the situation. And this is important to note because when you have a dog that's acting in a reactive, aggressive, unmanageable manner, so here I correct the line. The way that people try and generally correct that behavior, like no, stop it, down, off, if you're pulling on the leash and holding on the leash and stuff like that. So sorry, I forgot to take my mask off. So all you're doing is adding more energy instead of adding the calmness. And a dog's mind, we're looking at energy. The body is only a projection of the energy of the mind. So the energy of the mind can only go up or it goes down. If you're adding in more energy, the energy of the mind is going to continue to go up. If you're adding in calm, relaxed, assertive energy, the energy of the mind only goes down. So this is him wanting to play kind of a whine. He's not anxious, nervous type of a thing. Now, this is good, his tail going down there. Now, I don't know if we have enough time here today, but the reason that Melina and Stella are pretty much ignoring him is because the energy that he's showing, the alertness that he's showing, it's not the appropriate energy yet. So they feed in calm energy, waiting for his energy to come down to a more balanced state, and then that's when they would start to engage with him. Okay? So right there, that was a little motion forward, not in an aggressive way, in an inappropriate, playful way. So I come in and everything is at the neck. They all touch the neck. I get in between, ask him to sit, walk into his space. Keep getting in front of the head. Walking into his space. So he sits, looks at me, relax, affection. Again, just resetting the body and the mind to calm. And then I go back to what I was doing. I'm just saying, no, that way that you just came into Melina is inappropriate. Too much energy, too much focus. Just relax.